Questions for Jaylen?
Before I get started, guys, I would like to continue to demand justice for Breonna Taylor. I also like to encourage guys to get out and vote. And I would also like to thank the NBA and the Celtics for allowing us to kneel and participate that protest for the national anthem every single night.
All right.
There is an emphasis in this country on the framing of these instances, such as Jacob Blake. Well, he was a convicted felon. Well, he had a history of police brutality. Well, he possibly had a weapon. This framework is not unfamiliar to people of color and African Americans, nor does it constitute death or being shot 7 times. The reality is majority of African Americans and people of color have a history with the police. You know, it comes with the plagues of systemic oppression, lack of education, economic opportunity, housing, etc. Most people of color, most minority communities have a history with the police. The question is that I would like to ask is, does America think that Black people or people of color are uncivilized, savages, or naturally unjust? Are we products of the environments that we participate in? That's the question I would like to ask to America, and America has proven its answer over and over and over again. Are we not human beings? Is Jacob Blake not a human being? I don't care if he did something 10 years ago, 10 days ago, or 10 minutes ago. If he served his sentence and he was released back into society, he did not deserve to be, he still deserves to be treated like a human and not deserve to be, shot in the back 7 times with the intent to kill. His kids will never unsee that. His family will never unsee that. And frankly, I will never unsee it. People post my jersey all the time, number 7. And every time I look at my jersey now, what I see is, a Black man being shot 7 times. But all America sees is his background or his background report. It's easier to see that than it is to see the truth. Thank you.
Thank you. Question in person, Chris Mannix.
The last 24 hours have obviously been emotional for a lot of guys. Some guys openly wondering, what are we doing here? Is it really worth it? Have you had any kind of similar thoughts in the last 24 hours or so?
In a sense, you kind of feel very helpless. Here in the bubble, you feel like you want to do more. I feel like I should be out there protesting and what a lot of people are doing right now. But I'm here in a bubble playing basketball. And I do think the NBA has done a great job initially to kind of give us the platform to speak on certain things and things like that. But I do kind of feel like it is kind of lessened as the playoffs have gotten started. Things have kind of diminished. I'm curious to see in what creative ways that people put their minds together to continue to push these conversations and make, me feel more comfortable about playing basketball in the middle of like a lot of the things that are going on. I know I'm not a politician or an elected official or whatever, but I still care about my community. I still care about what's going on outside in the world. And I have a family, and I have cousins, and I have people who have history with the police or have been convicted of felonies or et cetera. And I want them to be able to be treated fairly. But most people want me to just shut up and dribble.
Are there specific things that you would like to see done? As you mentioned, it's diminished, whether it's the league, the media, are there things on the top of your head that you would like to see?
I would like to see, I mentioned this before, but I guess I'll mention it now in the media, which I haven't done before. But I would like to see more, from the NBA aspect, teams partner with, align with more community groups and organizations that have dedicated their life and time to correcting these issues and reforming these issues. You know, a lot of people come to me and ask me questions as a 23-year-old, and people are asking me, like, Jaylen, what do we do? Like, I'm a 23-year-old. Like, I do my research, but you shouldn't be asking a 23-year-old like Jaylen, what should we do? It's a lot of people that have dedicated their lives to this and spend a lot of time. And I feel like more NBA teams should align with those groups and those community and maybe make them a part of their staff or permanently align with them. A lot of our players here in this league are African American and come from minority communities and things like that. So to make us feel comfortable about playing basketball, you know, that's something that could be talked about.
Question in person, Kyle Goon.
Dylan. To what extent is it important to be able to talk to other players in the bubble and network and kind of get a sense for maybe once you get out, what you guys can do collectively and organize in that way?
I'm not even sure how to really answer that question. There's a lot of guys I've seen that have put their money together and things like that during this time towards education reform, towards police reform. There's been a lot of stuff that guys have dedicated, you know, a lot of time to, and things like that silently, and I continue to support that.
Does that feel like that's going to extend past the bubble and you guys will kind of continue to be able to do these things once this is over?
Yeah, for sure. Absolutely. I think the world is going to be different. My hope is the world is going to be different post-corona, post kind of like this enlightening that's going on. Like a lot of things are going to be different. A lot of things that were just, you know, moments are becoming lifestyles for a lot of people. So a lot of people are dedicating their life and it's becoming more, you know, into their daily routine. So I don't think it's just a bubble thing for us. I think this is something that we feel strongly about and the world should feel strongly about too.
Question in person, Gary Washburn.
Jaylen, what do you say to young African-American kids, 13, 14, 15, who see that video and wonder when it's going to be them, if it's going to be them, wonder if they're going to live to 18? How do you try to uplift young people of color who that's their reality and they think the clock is ticking?
To be honest, I'm not sure. Like, I'm watching that video and I'm traumatized. Like I said, like when I see people posting my jersey now, social media or whatever, like all I see is that video, 7. So I can't even imagine, you know, the trauma from other kids that watched that video and his own kids that were sitting in the back seat.
Tim Bontemps.
It's definitely hard to digest or to process how you feel about it. You know, like everything on me was on fire yesterday, waking up to it. And to see people like changing like the framing of like what he did in the past in terms of, well, he was a convicted felon, or well, he had a history of police, you know, resisting arrest, or he possibly had a weapon. Like that is not unfamiliar framework in this country. We've seen that time and time and time again. That does not constitute or justify the fact you shooting somebody in the back 7 times or killing them at all. And anybody who thinks differently is no friend of mine.
Jaylen, you've talked a lot about the work you've done protesting. Obviously, you went down to Atlanta and did that. You've been very active with all this stuff. The Raptors had a team meeting this morning. They talked about the possibility of not playing. Fred VanVleet talked about, you know, what are we willing to give up to try to, you know, make change. Is that anything you've thought about or you guys have thought about as a group amid everything that's going on?
It was hard enough even coming down here. Honest, but I guess that's something that you can talk about with your team. for sure. We haven't talked about that as the Celtics as our team, but those emotions are real. Like, that is real. Yes, we're athletes. Yes, we are being paid to play a sport that we love, but we are human beings, members of our community, although we are fathers, uncles, nephews, brothers, etc. So, all those emotions are real, and I don't really have a lot to say. I'm just happy by the grace of God that Jacob Blake is still alive. Because the police who shot him, that wasn't their intention. They shot him to kill him. And that's a problem in this country. There's a million different ways you could have dissolved that situation. Your thought was to kill him. That was the best method. Interesting.
Final question for Jaylen, John Corrales.
Jaylen, you look across a lot of these scrums when we do this in person. I'm sure you see a lot of white faces. Across the media, there is a lack of representation of the Black community. Do you think that impairs your message at all? And if so, how?
In what way? What way would it impair my message?
For people who don't share your perspective, who don't understand, who come from a different place, because there's a lack of representation of Black journalists in the media, that people who don't share your perspective, who may not understand your perspective, they're the ones who are disseminating your message.
Possibly. That's actually a good, I haven't really thought about that a lot, but absolutely. The storytellers are very, very important. That's why, a lot of guys get upset with the media, because the narratives are being shifted in one way or shape or form. You know what I mean? And sometimes opinions of media members get presented as facts, and those narratives get shifted. And if I have a message that I want to give, I want to feel comfortable that that message is going to come out in the way I intended it to come out, not in the way that the media feel like they can sell a story. Because that's what they're doing to keep their job. I understand, how the process goes and headlines and clickbait and all that, but it makes guys less wanting to share their perspective, because their words are gonna get tangled up or chopped and screwed and put out in a way that they didn't intend them to.
Jaylen, thank you very much. We'll wrap it up right there.
Thank you.